We're doing it live? We are doing it live. Hello, everybody. Today, I'm talking about being right, the need to be right, and its effects on us. I think this is pretty common when people talk to each other, especially if something means a lot to us. When we talk about something, we see it as right and we want to defend it. And then this is how a lot of arguments start. People defending their position, you see it differently than somebody else, and then yada, 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 escalates, gets emotional, right? So, what I really want to talk about is this subtle mindset shift between trying to pick apart someone else's view, perspective, opinion, whatever, versus trying to find the lessons within whatever they're saying. Even if their perspective differs from your own, you can still take the stance of trying to learn something. But when we become so fixated on proving to the other person that we are correct, we are right, we see it the real way, then we lose that ability. It sucks all our mental faculties into this mode of, I'm just going to pick you apart and defend my position, you're wrong. And it's very often associated with an increase in emotional reactivity. So you can almost feel it. You start talking louder a lot of times. When you get heated, you get a little hot, maybe aggressive, you start attacking. That's a cue that there's emotion involved. It's no longer an objective discussion. It's now become emotional, which is a sign that something is off center. But you can have a conversation with someone. You can hear what they say. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to disagree with it. You can hear and try to understand. And if you take that stance, it's a very humble stance, then you're much more apt to learn something that you wouldn't otherwise have learned, because you'd have been blinded by this idea that you have to prove this other person wrong. And then you're so fixated on, it's like almost like you're in a court of law and you're just picking apart their argument no matter what they say. And you miss all the goodies within what they say. And the goodies can be anything. They could be the content of what that person's talking about. Maybe there's something you didn't see within the content, but it could also be learning about the person. And you blind yourself to even that. That person is saying things for a reason. And if you're paying attention to what the person is saying and you're thinking, why is that person saying that? What is behind those words? Where did those words come from? What's the feeling there? Then you can learn about the person. So you're still learning, even if you don't necessarily agree with their stance. But that requires us to put aside momentarily our beliefs and our views, and more importantly, our attachment to our beliefs and views, how strongly we feel that we have to tell everybody that this is how it is. If you can put that aside, then you can learn. If you don't, then you're really just running around telling the world how it is. You're teaching the world. You have, for some reason, you're the one, and everybody else needs to learn from you, and you're just, this is how it is. I'm the special one, And it sounds kind of funny, but it's like a lot of us do that. I definitely did that for a lot of my life. Run around, just, this is how it is. This is how you get aggressive, you're starting fights. For what purpose? Like, let's say hypothetically, and this was definitely not the case, but let's say hypothetically, I was correct. Everything I said was the truth. What's my goal when I go around picking apart other people's views because they differ from my own? What's my goal? What do I hope to achieve? Is it really the case that they'll be like, oh, Sean's getting very aggressive. Yeah, he must be right. I think you'll find that if you look back on the times that you've done that, if you've done that, it doesn't work like that. It actually works in the opposite way. When you push on somebody, what do? You know the answer. They push back. So your aggression, you trying to prove that you're right, pushing against the other person, all it really does is increase this contentious interaction you have. So they push back, and then you have a fight, and it's like, oh my goodness. There's this amazing Zen story, and I'm going to share it with you because it's so amazing. And it's about these two old men who have lived together for like 40 or 50 years as best friends and roommates that live in the same house. And after 40, 50 years, one of them is like, how do people fight? Like they've never gotten to a fight after like decades of living together. They don't understand it. So they want to understand. And one guy's like, I don't understand how that happens. How does it work? And the other guy's like, I know exactly how it works. Here's what happens. I take this brick and I put it in between us. And then I tell you that it's mine. And then you say, no, that's mine. And then we have a fight. So they're like, let's give it a go. And the guy puts a brick in front of him. He's like, that's mine. And the other guy goes, no, that's mine. And then the first guy goes, yeah, okay, you can have it. And they don't have a fight. So do you see what I'm saying there? It's not just materially, it's not just the brick or the gold or the car or the house or whatever. It's the idea, the principle. Anything that you attach this idea of possession to, and you're like, yes, this is mine, this is my view, my perspective, and I must defend it, then you're opening the door to fighting and just having this back and forth, and you're missing any sort of lesson that could be available to you. So I hope this is helpful. Just taking the stance of trying to understand. You trying to prove everybody wrong or worse than you. Ask yourself, what is that really achieving? I think mostly it's just a way that we try to feel secure. Our ego tries to protect itself. And the more we quote unquote know, the safer we feel in the world. But it is an illusion because we technically don't know anything. So ask yourself these things, think about it. If you want some tools for your mindset and thinking things through for yourself, hit me up, check me out, www.seanplummer.com. I got you. And I'll see you next week.